Hi there. This is the design that we're going to be working on today. Yours will probably not look exactly the same because I'm actually using temporary tattoos as the decals for my fingernails. I got this idea from watching a recent video by Cutepolish, who, by the way, if you have not checked out her videos, they're excellent. She comes up with great ideas all the time. And the other day she saw some temporary tattoos in the store and thought, hey, could I use those on my nails? Yes, you can. I happen to have quite a lot of temporary tattoos that I wasn't really using, so I'm delighted to have a use for them now. What I did was I took an existing design that looked something like this, not quite as large of course. It was much smaller and worked a little bit better on my fingernails, but it looked a lot like this, and then I just cut it into various pieces and I used little vines along it, and I transferred these onto my nail. I could use probably these purple flowers as a large transfer for my nail as well. But that gives you kind of an idea of what I started with. So for this look, I started off putting this directly onto my nail and then applying a very sheer champagne color over it to give it a somewhat antiqued look. Because as you can see, the decals don't look as vibrant and bright as the examples I just showed you. They have a slightly older, antique look to them that I got by applying the nail polish over the decal rather than applying the nail polish first and then putting the decal on. If you do not want the antique effect and you want a very vibrant look, you could put down a coating of color first. This one is actually a coating of color, it just happens to look exactly like the practice nail. And then put your decal over that and move on. Personally, I like the antique look. So here's my practice nail. For your design, of course, you're going to want to start with a base coat, and if you use a base coat like mine, which is the Sinful Colors base coat, there's a slight color to it. So what you'll do is you'll cut out the design that you wish to use, and it'll come with a little piece of plastic cover on it. You just peel that off, and then the tattoo side, or the image side, is what then goes down on your nail. You'll need to have a little bit of water available and a cotton round or a cotton ball or a cloth or something to soak the temporary tattoo into the nail with. So just get that ready. I'll position this on the nail the way that I want it. Then I'll take my sopping wet cotton ball and I'll place that on top of the temporary tattoo. And you just want to soak that into the tattoo for about 30 seconds so that the transfer pulls away from the paper backing and you can pull it easily off your nail, leaving only the temporary tattoo behind. Okay, and when you remove the cotton, it'll kind of look like this, and it might already start pulling up from the design to indicate that it's going to pull away. And then you just simply pull the paper backing away from the temporary tattoo, and it really should be about that easy to do. If you find that you have to peel it off, then you probably just need to soak it a little bit more. Okay, and then I don't know if you can easily see this in the camera, but some of the edge pulled up a little bit on this, so all you have to do is take your wet cotton ball. It doesn't have to be soaking anymore, but just your wet cotton ball, and then just press down on it like this. And that will ensure that all the edges of the transfer are very secure on the nail. And if you have another dry cotton round, you can just again pat that dry, or just let it air dry, whichever is easiest. And then your next step is to do the antiquing. You can see the design is pretty vibrant at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and use a nice translucent beige. This is the LA Colors Color Crizz nail polish, and for some reason I can't find a name for this one. But basically it's just a sheer frosty beige or champagne color. And I'm just going to paint this directly over the design. And I hope you can see how this is sort of muting the design, but you can still absolutely see it through the nail or through the nail polish coat. You only want to put one coat of this sheer nail polish on, and it gives it kind of a pretty antique effect. It slightly mutes the temporary tattoo decal underneath, and it adds kind of a pretty antique-y champagne color. Now I'm just going to let this dry before moving on with the second part of the design. Now that my coat of champagne color has dried, I'm ready to move on to the next step. If you would like to create a French nail tip like I've done here, then just find yourself any sort of dark color. And then the next step would be to create a French tip on this nail. And now I'm just going to let that part of it dry before I move on with the last part. I thought I would show you the difference between the two styles before we move on to the next step. On the left, you'll see the sort of quote-unquote antiqued version of the style, where you have painted the base coat over the design. And then on the right, I have put the temporary tattoo over the base coat so that you'd see the full vibrance of the rose in this particular temporary tattoo. So it's really up to you which one you prefer to do. I kind of like the antique version, like I've said, so that's the one that I'm going to finish. Okay, and now we're ready to move on with this design as my layers of nail polish have dried. So I'm going to take my Special Flaky and I'm going to just paint over the entire nail, including the French tip. And that's going to create this really pretty sort of holographic flaky shimmer over the entire design. And I'm going to make sure to get a little bit of extra on that dark French tip, just because it shows up there so well and looks kind of neat. And there you go. I hope you see that shift in the light. It just looks so neat. Okay, and now we're ready for top coat, which will bring out the final shine and put a really high gloss shine on it, which will just look really, really nice with the flaky and the design underneath. And there you have it, the final design all finished. I really hope that you enjoyed this design and that you enjoy doing it on your own fingers. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.